Wait, what's Drop Zone Duel?
What?
What?
In this video, we're going to be talking about the idea of spamming, everything about it. First, what is spamming? It's repeatedly doing the same move over and over.
Whenever it comes to spamming, I find a lot of people, it's the same thing as the reason why people call them light and heavy attacks. People who start off the game are usually going to be like, oh, I want to deal as much damage as possible, so obviously I'm going to hit heavy versions of attacks.
All right.
Which, I mean, yes, it's right, but it's harder.
Well,
I just want to get into this like right away when it comes down to the spamming. What are we describing as spamming, really?
I hear this talked about a lot, how there's different types of spamming. There's the 6 spam, the light attack spam. So 6 spam, let's start off with that one first. How do y'all feel about 6 spam?
I think there's a difference between skillfully spamming and just spamming to spam. Like, if you're in silver or something, and you're just throwing out a move like this, if you see me right now praying to God one of these hits you, that is just straight up spamming. Now, if I do something like this, where I wait and try to hit you and space you out, that's a little different, because that's you skillfully using your skill.
In a line of 6 spam too, like, I think you touched on this a second ago, like the difference of it in certain elo, like you could throw a sig out there like silver, gold, especially with like Lance or something, and they just, no matter what community you go to, someone is always complaining about some sort of spam. Like
Lance main, I don't know how many times I get to hear Lance is broken, and 90% of the players that say it are either silver or gold. And of course, me being in like plat mid, tell me Lance is broken. Tell me Lance is broken as I face people and I can never hit them and they'll punish me for days.
We'll talk about Lance the next time we have this. But to me, particular, a win is a win, no matter how you look at it. Like, whether they light attack spam you, 6 spam you, dodge spam you, whatever the case may be, especially if you're playing rank. You're not there to, how I view it anyway, you're not there to give your opponent a good time. You're trying to win and move on to the next match. If I'm throwing an attack at you, and I notice that you're having a particularly hard time dealing with that attack, why would I stop you?
That's like, that's both is and the opposite of spamming at the same time, because it's like somebody can accidentally find that out too, but also not realize that they're doing it by spamming. But whenever somebody's just utilizing it, it's like the creme de la creme of how to beat somebody. Because if you found a way to beat somebody, why change?
But at the same time, you can actually bait somebody out with that. Like with 2s, that's a way not to kill your friend. If you hold down the sig, you can not kill your opponent and kill the other guy because you waited long enough to hold him down. So it does give you that advantage by doing that.
Is spamming a viable strat?
3, 2,
Yes.
1.
With certain heroes, legends, my bad.
I mean, regardless, like in most any game, anybody can say it, like, and it is still valid. Like, spamming is, like, even as hated as it is in every community, it is still a viable strat.
Now, when I call you
Granted,
a
it's not
scum
always
and be
good.
mad when I lose to you, yes.
Exactly.
Most people will say,
appreciate you.
most people will flame spam in your
credit
face
for the win.
if they lose to a move they can't stop anyway. So I mean, with that certain like string spam too, every weapon in this game has, well, maybe not blaster, but every weapon in this game has a really easy abusable some sort of string, especially if they're trying to kill confirm.
You just say blaster didn't?
I didn't say that it didn't have one that they couldn't spam. I say like easy to spam, like
I would say
like
I would
hammer,
on that one,
downlight, side air.
A lot of blaster strings require a lot of skill to pull that off.
True.
Like spacing is so key. with Blaster. That's why I really didn't say it. You can spam it, don't get me wrong, but it's way harder to do it with Blaster than just about any other weapon. Maybe besides Cannon, but
You're missing a weapon. There's one I'm gonna throw in there that's just gonna put a little kick in that. Like,
which one? Did you say Greatsword?
Greatsword? What do you mean Greatsword? Look at the whole premise of Greatsword right now is spam with light.
But last thing I do want to touch up on when it comes to spam is, but also another point I wanted to talk about is we touched on it a little bit. Where do you draw the line with spam versus skill?
Timing.
Yeah.
Your timing to hit and the amount that you actually hit.
I would actually say for that one, it's always on the setup for it for me. Whenever it comes to lower ranked people, I always find, like, say Taros or Zol, I always see people with Taros' hammer doing a downlight to a neutral sig thinking it'll always hit, or Zol's downlight with cannon and neutral sig and always hitting. And nowadays it's gotten a lot more recovery time to where you can't, like, you can easily dodge out of it, and it's way harder to hit as a regular string. Where whenever it comes to people in higher ELOs with those kind of weapons, they don't use the setups for it, they just wait for their opportunities to do it.
I think it's more of, I do agree with you, Toke, very much, but I also think it's more of like, if I'm getting waked up sigged in the middle of a string just because you're clicking that Y button like you're saving your dad on life support, it's spamming to me. Like, as you can see here, I'm going to play Orion. If you got somebody that's going to the edge of the map and just going side sig, side sig, side sig, that is spamming. Now, if I waited here and waited for a perfect opportunity to throw out a side sig, I do not consider that spam. I think it's all situational when you use your sig, whether it's spamming or not.
Yeah. And it's like, and even whenever it's situational in that, it's a lot harder for it to, it's easier and harder to hit things like that, because whenever it comes to people just waiting out dodges and everything for it, or even like dodge spamming with it, as we were saying a while ago, it's like, it's once again situational just because you don't know whenever somebody can do it, or you're trying to read that so hard.
Yeah, and like my biggest example of, you know, the spam versus skill is like whenever you get someone in silver or gold that uses cannon versus someone in plat or high plat or diamond that uses cannon. It seems like most, like, just take a Sidra for example. Like, you see a silver Sidra or a gold Sidra, the thing that you're gonna see the most is the cannon sig over and over, like the one that shoots the cannonball.
Yeah.
Now, then you turn around and get a diamond Sidra, you're finna get 0 to death like the minute you get red once in a dodge.
Question is, with that is, some of these character legends are heavily influenced by their SIGs, and I think Syndra was a great point that you brought up, because Syndra has one of the best complementary SIGs to her weapon.
Anchor.
Where the anchor can space out people. The I think it's N-Sig for the cannonball. If you got a floaty player, you can spam that a lot to catch them in their air dodges. I think it's just one of the things where, is it actually spam, or are you spacing out your character, your other opponent?
No, you are
to your average.
So right on that.
To your average Brawlhalla player, it's gonna look all the same to them. But when you have someone that, you know, has not just like an elo, but even time spent in the game, to be completely honest. Like, if you have a couple 2-3 digit hours in a game, you will be able to tell the difference between, you know, or in my opinion, you'll be able to tell the difference between when you're being spammed to death and when someone's just inherently better than you, to the point to where it seems like you're getting caught in like everything that they do, no matter what you do.
Yep.
See, the point that I like that you made inside of it, like even just being Sidra, or not Sidra necessarily, it's canon for me in that, and it's actually a perfect example for early ELOs and later and higher ranked people. Same as how you said whenever you're going up against like a silver or a gold or even lower for canon, you're getting hit with a bunch of SIGs, like the cannonball for Sidra. But when you go up against higher ELO people, it's usually the same kind of dodge read scenario every time. It's, well, let me think about it. It's like side light, side air, dodge to the other side and do another side air, and it's kind of that kind of spam consistently, or it's like down light, neutral air.
Yeah, more or less. And I do really feel like there's a really strong difference between spam versus skill, but to the average Brawlhalla player, they're probably first of all, over 80% of the players that play this game is in either silver or gold, like one of the two. And to the average player base, I can pick Sidra, and I could be using either a 0 to death string, or I could just sit here and, NSIG, Y button all day. No matter which one I use, they will probably still take it to Facebook and say, I just lost to a Sidra spammer.
But my question is, when do we come into account of the player base calling people spammers? You got to think, if you're getting spammed over and over again, you're making the same mistake.
That's right.
Over and over again to allow him to hate you.
Monks asked a minute ago, in that case, would they listen to, the silver and gold when they say this needs nerf, this needs to be changed because this move comes out too fast, it's super spam friendly? And my answer to that is yes, because if you have a chart of, like I was talking about, the number of players in each elo, even from mid-plat, not low-plat, but like mid-plat and higher, it's so small that it wouldn't really make much sense unless it's tournament-based or something like that to listen to that particular player base when it comes to what needs to nerf. Because, not in every case, but like to the easier accessible moves. That's why Scarlet got nerfed to the ground at this point. But because there was a point in time where literally everybody, once they reached high gold and above, picked Scarlet if they wanted to win, because it was simply easier to win with Scarlet.
Okay, I'm not trying to get off topic. This goes into spamming and nerf, and yes, it is a different game. This is going to bring into light of what Brawlhalla is. If you look at Brawlhalla and you look at a simple game other than that, Mortal Kombat, their button system are two different systems. For a combo like Mortal Kombat, their square, triangle can cancel into all kind of different things. In Brawlhalla, you only have so many directions. Each button is only going to have their input with that one direction. So it kind of limits to the amount that you can actually do with this game rather than other games. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like this is a pro tip that nobody says to get around spam. Stay calm, because it does get frustrating seeing the same thing repetitively, but if you stay calm, you can always get out of it.
That's like the one thing that literally you can take to heart, because this is one thing I be trying to show, like, It's a Girl or Mix and stuff like that. It's like, I know some attacks are more frustrating to see than others, especially if you just don't quite know how to get out of it, and they keep doing the same thing over and over and over. You getting mad, hitting panic buttons, getting frustrated, want to break the controller. How is that helping you getting around the spam that you see on screen?
I agree. I don't know how many controllers I've broken.
I used this match that I played a couple days ago against BCX Year 20 finalist Tiffany. she was using, he or she, I can't remember what they said. I'm sorry if I get your gender wrong. But she was using Nyx and a gameplay of Blaster that I just can't quite play well against. She was using a very spacious downlight soundlight blaster that I just couldn't like. I just really couldn't keep up with, because I'm used to like consistently just trying to be in someone's face, like whether I'm trying to bait an attack out of them or I'm trying to get aggressive against them. I'm normally up in someone's face, like 90% of the match. You will see me like right in your face trying to get an attack off. But with this person, like they were just keeping me at a distance so good to where every single side light they did hit every single time. I couldn't get around it. I couldn't dodge out of it. They were just so used to what they were doing. They were so used to that, and I was not. Now, is that my fault for not being used to that, or is it Tiffany's fault for abusing that? No, it's not. It's not Tiffany's fault at all, even though I was on the receiving end of that. It's the fact that I just did not know how to get around it. But if you put literally any of the average player base in that same spot, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, you can go on to any Brawlhalla community on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever they are, and you'll see I just lost to a sidelight spamming Nyx. Never mind the fact that they were just more skilled than you were. It was just the fact that this person was using something on me that I couldn't get. I didn't know how to get out of.
3, 2, 1.
You have got to stay calm in situations like that, or you will never learn how to get out of it.
To add to that, if anything, I would say I'm a string spammer, because I literally have one of my Xbox controllers. The X button, I have used it so much, and for anybody that doesn't know, that doesn't play on console, on Xbox, your X is your light attack. My Xbox controller has caved in so much that when I push it, I cannot push it a second time. I have to literally pull the damn thing out.
Alright, I think that'll just about wrap it up for this HollerBrawl talk. Catch everybody in the next video. Say bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye from A Monks. Have a nice day.
That is not what I said. Say it right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.